Boo boo boo.
Boom, ba bum, 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 bum,
Bum bitty 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 bum bum. Welcome everybody to another edition of Kevin and Drew Talk Movies on Distorted Minds Podcast. How are we doing out there?
What up?
What's going on? Today we got a fucking tearjerker episode for you. Heavy stuff. No pun intended. But, because of the whale, right? You know?
Oh, God, yeah. That movie fucked me up, dude. I'm not even going to lie.
So, yeah, Drew's choice was The Whale, that brand new Brendan Fraser film, which I've seen twice in theaters and once the other day. And I chose Lady Bird, the Greta Gerwig film, which is also another emotional movie. And we will get into that soon enough. But first, you know, we got to do the old snapshot. I don't know what I want to do.
Dinosaur.
Raw. That'll work.
Got to do something different every time.
I know. My mind always goes blank right when we're about to do it. What shall I do? So, did you watch any other movies?
I actually watched kind of a lot of movies this time around, man.
I did not watch as many.
Well, partly I watched, like, some comedies because, you know, these movies were some fucking... They hit hard, and they were kind of Debbie Downers, and I was like, man, I need to... Because, like, I watched The Whale.
You need to watch...
And I had to watch something funny to, like...
slate.
To, like, get a clean slate.
Yeah,
So I was like, I like...
To balance it out.
Yeah, I was like, man, I need to laugh before I cry again. Like...
Yeah. Did you watch them both in the same night?
Yeah. Yeah.
And something else, too?
Yeah, because what happened was I went and got some work done on my knee. And so I was basically just holed up in my house. I had to, you know, put ice on my knee all day. So I just fucking basically just watched movies all day. So I watched The Whale. And then I watched this movie called The Girl Next Door, which it's not a great movie.
Emile Hirsch?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's got
the blonde chick. I don't know her name.
It also has... He's a dude that's been in a lot of movies. He's also in the show. It's called Justified. But he's been in a lot of stuff. He's in that movie, too. And it's like, it's funny enough. It's just, the premise is completely ridiculous. And it's just like, this shit would never happen.
I feel like I might have seen that way back when it first came
out.
But then I don't really remember anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's about this ex-porn star. She starts dating a high school senior. And it's just like, it's a ridiculous premise because, like, this shit is like, it would never happen. It's literally like a teenage boy's wet dream. Like, it's just so unrealistic. But there's stuff that's pretty situationally funny in it. So, like, it was good for a laugh, even though the whole time I was like, man, I forgot. Now that I'm older, this is kind of a dumb fucking movie. It's like, it's making me laugh, but I accept that. I actually...
sometimes that happens, man. You revisit these old movies.
The guy that was the actor that's from Justified, he ended up...
Who is it? Timothy Oliphant?
Something like that, I think so.
I'm going to look it up. But yeah, go ahead.
But he was the funniest person in that movie. Every scene he's in, he's cracking my shit up because he's just like one of those like really charming scumbag characters, and he's just like you want to hate him, but you kind of like him.
It was Timothy Oliphant.
Yep.
And Paul Dano in there. Cool.
Yep. Paul Dano. He plays one of the main character's friends. Apparently, he has got a huge schlong like in the movie.
I've seen it. No, I'm kidding. One of the ones I watched was Witch House. You know, the one that I was in, me and Sarah and stuff. We watched it because Sarah hasn't seen it yet, so popped it on, watched it. It's kind of a rough watch. I'll be honest. I'm gonna just be honest. You know, it's like it's a little hard to follow and just I don't know.
Like a real C horror movie.
It's really it's low budget and the acting's not super great. But hey, you know, some people like them cheesy horror movies, and
hey, I love those movies, man.
You know, give it a watch, maybe. You know, it's for free on Tubi for those who want to check it out, and you know. But yeah, other than that, you got any more?
Oh yeah. So I watched another comedy, but this one, even though it's dumb, I love this movie. I rewatched Grandma's Boy.
Oh, so good.
I think of all of those Happy Madison movies, I think it's the best one. Like by far. Like ever since.
Well, I mean, them classic Adam Sandler's. Those are.
But the Happy Madison, that production company, kind of came out after
after Happy Gilmore and
all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when he had already made his billions of dollars off of his last couple were pretty good too. I think it was the last movie he made, I think, before he started the Happy Madison production company was Mr. Deeds, which was it's an okay movie. It's not his best movie.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah. But yeah, no, fucking that movie's
Grandma's Boy is fucking fire, bro. It's so funny.
The humor holds up, man. It's still
Nick
very
Swartzen
funny. Nick Swartzen's the funniest motherfucker in that movie, dude. He kills me every time, dude. Banging your three roommates is epic, but banging your grandma and her two roommates, legendary.
Isn't there a line where Jonah Hill's I sucked my first tits or whatever?
I sucked my first titty for 14 hours. And Barry sucked his first titty for 14 hours.
Yeah.
There's also a scene where main character kicks Jonah Hill in the shit. He's like, "Oh my god, I think he broke."
Oh, Dance Revolution, new high score. What does that mean? Did I break it? Yeah. Please sit on my face.
My name is JP. I am a robot. I have a robot vagina. Don't be mad at us.
See you later, turd nuggets. He does that whole thing.
Wheatgrass. He's like, that's great if you want to be sober and vomit.
We'll go to the loony bin together.
Yep.
Oh man.
Where do you get your weed from? I get it from you, Dante. Oh, that's right. What's up, Mr. Cheezel?
Yeah, great movie. The other one I watched, I can't tell you until later. So
Got you.
It's a secret.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I'll reveal that later. So yeah, if you have any more, then go ahead and throw them out.
Yeah,
those are the only two I watched, other than these two.
So I watched Dread, not the shitty Sylvester Stallone one, but the one that's got Carl. What's it? Carl Urban. So Carl Urban plays Dread, and it's a fucking. I know you don't like action movies, but that one is awesome. I think the coolest thing about it is, how action movies, especially in the 21st century, they way overuse slow motion scenes where they slow down the action. It's that shot. Well, this movie does it in a way that's really creative because there's a drug called slow-mo in the movie, so it actually slows down your brain to 1/100th of a second when you're on it, so everything is so that's every scene you see that's in slow motion, it's because people are fucking smoked out of their mind, so like that's how they're perceiving the world. And they're perceiving the world in like these super bright sparkling colors. And like there's some really, really cool scenes, like action scenes, where they're basically like getting these gunfights with these guys that are fucking super drugged up. And it's like the cinematography is really fucking cool. The action set pieces are really good. It's honestly a really underrated action movie.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it, saying that I should watch it. Man.
Yeah, I know you don't like action movies, but that one's it's a good movie. Like, and it's not like not convoluted. Like, there is kind of like a supernatural element to it, but it's not anything that's like out of control.
Too out of the
The only like supernatural thing about it is there's a girl that can read people's minds, and that's kind of like the only thing, which is like it's kind of a cool like little it's like part of her character. So and it actually does come into play, and like there's some important things that happen because she can do that, and so it like kind of sets the whole movie in motion. But the plot is, it's pretty straightforward, but it's well done enough to where it's like, it's like as far as like a futuristic movie, it's pretty believable. Like, they don't like do anything that's too over the top.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And
then the last one I watched, aside from the two main ones, I went and saw the new Spider-Man movie because I love Spider-Man. So it's called
the cartoon one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Across the Spider-Verse. It was great. I loved it. Can't wait for the final one to come out. Like,
cool. Miles Morales.
Yep. He's the fucking coolest Spider-Man.
I played the video game, Miles Morales one.
Yeah.
Both of those ones. Yeah, those games are fun.
Yeah, man. They're great.
Yeah, just a free open world, just swinging through the city. Mm-hmm. That's fun. All right, well, should we jump right into one or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Which one do you want to do first?
I kind of like to talk about the whale first.
All right, we can do that. The motherfucking whale, bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
2022 drama, and I was like, whenever I read 2022, I was like, was it 22? Yeah, but yeah, it was December 2022.
This movie fucked me up a little bit, man. Like, there's some scenes in this movie that are pretty hard to watch, man. Like,
yeah,
I was like, there's like some stuff that like I didn't expect would gross me out. Kind of grossed me out a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe like what? Just the eating or
the binge eating.
Yeah.
Like that scene where he binge eats until he vomits, like that was just like, it was really intense, and just like I had a very guttural reaction to it.
Yeah, big spoiler alert. I know we always say that, but this is a brand new movie, so just so y'all listeners know, big spoilers.
But that scene was really visceral, and it I don't know, I've definitely been like drunk and eaten way too much food, or like been stoned and eaten way too much food.
Yeah.
But I've never like eaten to the point where like my stomach is so full that it makes me throw up. Like,
right.
That was like a pretty hard thing to watch, man. Like, I was just like, oh.
I know, that scene is fucking.
And that was kind of like the thing where it's just like it's like the tragic thing of this movie. It's like what makes it heartbreaking is just basically just like killing himself. Really, like anybody's doing it in the most disgusting and slow way possible.
Yeah, this movie, like, it's about like the last week of his life. It starts on Monday, ends on Friday, where spoiler, he dies at the end. But yeah, this is director Darren Aronofsky. I know you've seen some of his other films, right? The Wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of want to pick that one at some point.
Absolutely.
That movie fucking rules.
Dude, it's so good, yeah. It's a great fucking movie.
Black Swan is another one, which...
Another good movie, yeah.
Decent, yeah, pretty good. Requiem for a Dream. Yeah.
Oh, God, dude.
I've seen that one a long time ago.
I've seen it 2 times.
It's just one of those wild drug movies that, like Train Spotting or some shit like that.
I'm gonna do a slow digression where like it's like Train Spotting is the kind of movie where
Ewan McGregor
it kind of makes you want to do drugs, Like it makes it like wouldn't say it necessarily glamorizes it, but you can kind of see his case and like the case that he makes for like instead of like all this bullshit life stuff, he's like, why would I need all that when I have drugs? Like, but in Requiem for a Dream, you see the fucking real dark side of like those hard drugs. Like,
right.
It's like that's a movie that's fucking hard to watch, man.
Oh yeah,
I've seen it twice.
I think I've only seen it once.
Seen it twice, and I was like, I don't know if I could watch this movie a third time. Like it hits you in the guts like a pound of bricks, man. Like,
yeah, man, it's crazy. All right, let me get through this stuff. 64% tomato meter, which I thought it would be more, but that's fine. 91 audience score. So
yeah.
And I did not find any taglines.
I mean, The Whale is a pretty good it's a pretty good depiction. I think it gives a pretty good depiction of what you're getting into. Like, I think it's a good title for this movie.
Yeah. And it, obviously he's a giant fat dude, but and the title The Whale, you obviously connect those, but The Whale is referring to, the Moby Dick essay that his daughter wrote.
Yep. I know. So it was kind of that's kind of what blindsided me a little bit. I was like, because the first time we read the essay, I kind of had an epiphany. I didn't realize it. I never realized it was his daughter's essay until the very end of the movie. Like that kind of like spoiler alert. Sorry. That caught me off guard. I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I was like, because he kept saying it's a good essay, and I was like, it's really not that good of an essay. But then when you find out it was written by his daughter in 8th grade, I was like, yeah, you know what? That is a pretty good essay for an 8th grader. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's an honest essay, and that's his thing. He wants, so he's a fucking teacher. He teaches writing, a writing course or whatever, and he really wants these children to write something honest, Yeah,
he wants their unique
honest
opinions. Yeah, their unique opinions on what they're the material they're covering. Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of it's interesting because he really just has kind of lived a tragic life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like the love of his life, committed suicide. But he also, because he came out as gay and left his wife, he pretty much lost all custody rights to his child. Like,
right. And how good is she, bro?
She's
good, amazing. Dude. Sadie Sink is fucking fantastic in this movie, bro.
Until the very end of the movie, I was still on the fence. I was like, I don't know if I like this character or I absolutely hate this character. Like, and that's how you know, like, you've done a good job.
I want to cry right now.
Because she's on, but she plays a teenage girl so well. Because she's fucking horrible. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, but she kind of has reason.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't. Her attitude towards her father, I'm not saying it's not justified.
Right.
But when you get a better picture of how she is, when her mother basically is like, she's like, I don't even tell you all the shit that she's been doing. And it's like you understand, because like, yeah, it fucked her up. Her dad literally left her and her mom for another guy. Like, that's got to be like a really hard thing to go through.
Yeah,
like, it's got to be a hard thing to terms accept.
With. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like she's lashing out at the whole world, and she plays these games that are really manipulative and fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like I understand why you're the way you are, but I don't necessarily know if I can completely, like, it's like I don't think it's completely justified, some of the shit she does. And I kind of get her mother's point too towards the end, where she's like, she's like, it's not that I didn't want you to see her. She's like, I was afraid that she would hurt you. Like, and it's like, and you, that kind of becomes like,
yeah.
It's kind of apparent. It's like, yeah, you know, she could have literally killed him by giving him that Ambien. She didn't give a fuck. Like,
yeah.
Because always, as soon as she found out about the money, she's like, that's all she cared about. Like,
right. Yeah, that scene is fucking... It's a beautiful scene whenever, you know, the mom comes in to the apartment and they end up talking and shit and all that and arguing and everything. They, you know, they say feelings that they, you know, haven't said for a long time.
Yeah, they really get to...
I feel like they end up understanding each other better after that. And
I would agree, yeah.
She actually apologizes about his boyfriend dying, you know, because she said she seen him at the store or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, she was going to... I thought...
So she does still, like... feel for him.
Yeah, she still I mean, she obviously
cares about
I found that to be so interesting, and I kind of think that spoke a great deal about her character. That here's this man who basically stole her husband away, like essentially in her eyes ruined her life, right?
Yeah.
And you know, she would have had every right to berate this man and just lay into him for all the fucking strife that he caused by creating this big rift between her former husband and her daughter. But instead, she sees how much this guy is struggling. Instead of telling him who she is, she literally just helps him carry his groceries and says nothing.
Right.
And I honestly think that it is a testament to her character. Like, you know, like I think a lot of the things she brings up in their conversation, like keeping their daughter away from him, it's like, you know, really she makes a lot of good points.
That's
like,
the part too. Yeah, they talk that how you find out the mom was keeping Ellie away from him is because she thought that he would think she was a bad mother or something, you know? Because she was like ashamed that, well, just because Ellie is so fucking difficult as a teenage daughter and shit,
yeah,
she would think that, you know, Charlie would think she was a bad mother.
Right. But again, she was also afraid
That's
for
her
Charlie's
insecurities.
Right, but she was also afraid for Charlie's safety, which honestly, as you know, I think is kind of proven in the movie was well founded because she gave him Ambien and being in the situation he's in, I literally could have killed him. Like,
yeah,
and it isn't until, but I think that is where the daughter, you know, that did make me realize, you know, she's I mean, I was a terror. Not when I was a teenager, but when I was in college, I was a fucking terror when I was in college.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand that, you know, that's not the person she's going to be forever. That is her really just lashing out of the world because she's just, that is a feeling I very much understand,
Mm-hmm.
like being angry at the world and just wanting to lash out of the world and just hating everyone.
Mm-hmm. I've been there.
So I really do understand that pain, and I think his daughter's true character shows, like, because she pretends like she doesn't give a fuck about her dad. But when she finds out he's going to die, her attitude does a 180. Like, it completely changes, which is like, what the fuck you mean? Well, get him a fucking doctor, like call an ambulance,
right.
And you know, it's like I can't remember her name, but his friend, who's the nurse.
Liz.
Yeah, Liz.
She was also great, dude. Great.
So fucking
a lot
good.
of great acting in this movie.
Yeah. I love when she is basically explaining to his daughter, she's like, there's nothing we can do. She's like, his blood pressure is like 240 over 130. He's like, he's gonna die. Like, his heart is basically, it's a miracle it hasn't exploded already.
Right. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I do believe that this is one of those COVID movies, you know, because it's a small set, not a lot of characters, you know, and it's just that one location, you know. So I think this movie was filmed during COVID times, you know.
Yeah, probably, man, yeah.
because it's all like, yeah. There was a handful of movies that came out where you can tell that it was during COVID.
Yeah. I'll also say that, dude, Brendan Fraser, he's fucking amazing.
He's master, dude. He's so good.
He's like, he's really embodied this character.
Yeah,
who is just like
super convincing.
He's just like, and it's one of my favorite interactions is when it's that kid who's run away from home, who has lied about being a part of
the New Life
congregation.
church kid.
Yeah. So like Liz hasn't realized that he's lied, and he's not really part of that.
Yeah. Ellie's the one who figures out that.
Yeah.
She records them and shit.
That was kind of fucked up, but I was like,
but then it all turned out great, at the end.
Well,
I don't know if that was her intention,
See, that's the other thing too. Is like, I don't know if she was trying to fuck him over or help him. Like, it's very murky water with her. Because on the one hand, it definitely seemed like she wanted to try and hook up with him. Because that's a teenage girl, like older guy.
Yeah, she kind of flirty with him a little.
Yeah, over the top with it. She's like, "Oh, it's so easy to make you uncomfortable."
Right.
And I'm just like, "You're a fucking kid, man. Calm down."
But also the fact that she did record him, send it to his parents, and it turned out that he's gonna go home now and shit because of all that. Basically he stole money from the church, ran away, and confessed that to Ellie, who he didn't know was recording, and she sent it to his parents and stuff, and they said it was just money, come back home and all that.
Right, they forgave him.
Yeah, but that gives Charlie the peace of mind, saying she's gonna be all right, Ellie's gonna be all right, because she helped this guy.
Right, she did something good,
whether it was intentional or not.
Right,
he's got that peace of mind before he passes.
But one of my favorite interactions is with that kid and Charlie. It's towards the end of the movie. I think you know exactly the one I'm talking about. It's for one of the only times we see Charlie actually get angry. Like, we see him get upset throughout the movie. Essentially we are seeing him wallow in despair. Like, that is most of Charlie's story. He's basically given up on life. He's kind of admitted to always being like a bigger guy. But when his boyfriend died, he just basically gave up all hope. Mm-hmm. And he just became this shut-in. And I mean, when you're a shut-in, all you do is eat. Like, you just blow up. And like, I don't know how long Charlie has been like this. How long did they say? I kind of missed that. How long had his boyfriend been dead? Was it like a year?
Well, he left Ellie and her mom like 9 years prior.
Well, I knew that, but I was just kind of trying to figure out.
But he left, and I don't know how long it was after that when his boyfriend died.
But it's pretty obvious it's been a good amount of time, because he didn't put on, he's got to be.
It must have been a few years at least,
Yeah, because he's got to be like 500 or 600 pounds.
Yeah,
in this
I don't think they say how long.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but it's pretty evident he's at least 500 or 600 pounds in this movie. I mean, he's really heavy. Like, you can tell just by when he's in the shower, like, his belly is like down to his knees. Like, you don't look like that. Like, I mean, even in like the 300-400 pounds, like, you don't look like that. Like, you don't look like that until like you are.
And I think a lot of that is like CGI and shit. I think there was a fat suit, but there was also CGI, but you can't really tell.
I'm not sure, because when Brendan was talking about it, I mean, he basically went through like a shit ton of makeup and prosthetics every day. Like, I think part of it was he really wanted to take on the physicality of like having all that extra weight on him, like to like make it more authentic. But anyway, back to the kid and Charlie, that conversation where the kid's like, "Oh, well, if you just basically say you're sorry to God for being gay. Like, he'll forgive you. Like,
Yeah, the sins of the flesh.
Basically, he's telling Charlie, like, that him loving, is it Alan, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Him loving Alan, is why he's being punished, and he'll be forgiven if he just, rejects his homosexuality. Just like, it's that total Christian bullshit where it's just such hypocrisy, where it's like, on the one hand, they say love everybody, who's like, unless you're gay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, it's such horse shit. And it's when we really see Charlie's fury. He's like,
because he found that Bible verse that was highlighted in Charlie's.
Well, and it's because Alan's father was the preacher of that New Life church, and his father could just never accept him for who he was,
right?
And it ate away in his side because
he wasted away. He was malnutrition.
Yeah, well,
so they went like opposite ways weight wise.
Yep, and I think that's kind of an interesting dichotomy. Like, his boyfriend basically starved himself to death until he jumped off the bridge. And while Charlie just ate himself to death.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
And I think Liz makes it pretty apparent that her father just couldn't accept Alan for who he was, and it just ate away at Alan because he was, pressured to be this integral part of the church, but because he was gay, he just like, it was like these two completely different people, and it was just ripping him apart, and eventually he couldn't take it anymore. And you could see how heartbroken, and I love Liz for that too, where she's like, Charlie doesn't need your God bullshit, you need to fuck off. Like,
I did write down in my notes that it is beautiful how much Liz cares for Charlie, because that was her brother. Alan was her brother, and she knows they were in real love. It was real love.
Right. And I think Liz too. I think Charlie really is like kind of the only real family Liz has left, because she makes it abundantly clear that she wants nothing to do with her father or the church. She's like, fuck those people. They're messed up. They essentially killed my brother, and she's like, I want nothing to do with them.
Yeah, it's heavy.
This movie has this really... There's a lot of interesting dichotomies in this movie where it's pitting, like, acceptance versus belief. It's also pitting, like, the idea of, like, what a standard family is versus, like, what Charlie is. And it's... I think it kind of... It does this beautiful thing where it shows that even though Charlie has become this thing, he's still a sensitive, intelligent human being. He's quite intelligent.
Yeah, he is.
But he feels so guilty for the way he is. All he ever does is apologize. The only time we
say sorry one more time.
The only time we really see him get angry again is when that boy brings up Alan and basically is telling him he's a sin, and he basically needs to renounce his love to Alan and he can be saved. It's like, fuck you. He's like, tell me how you really feel. I love that. How he's yelling, he's screaming in his face. He's like, I'm disgusting, aren't I? He's like,
and then he goes, yes, you are disgusting. Like, he bursts out.
Yeah. And then, but it's like, if you notice, it's like Charlie's almost pushed that guy to cry. And he literally he takes the Bible, takes his things, and he just leaves.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just like that. I think the movie does a great job of showing how hypocritical people like that actually are.
Yes.
Their motivation to save people as really more it's a self-interest to save themselves, because they feel guilty about their lives, about the things they've done.
Yeah.
I think it very there are a lot of people like that where they're trying to kind of force their ideals onto other people. So if I can just save this one sinner, it's like, who are you to fucking judge me for my life, man?
Yeah, you're
I mean, I'm a piece of shit, but still, fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. Like, don't tell me, don't lay your God bullshit on me. Like,
there's that part where he chokes on the meatball sub.
that was the other part that grossed me out too, man. Because essentially, he wasn't even chewing. He was just taking big bites and swallowing. It was just like,
chew your food like a normal human being. She has to like pry him over onto the side of the couch and like jump on him, basically.
Yeah, man. Like, there's just like all those scenes where he's just like eating,
gorging.
It's just like, it's disgusting, man. It made me. I was like, oh God. I was like, I don't eat like that, do I? You know what I mean? It's like it made me feel subconscious about eating, like watching it.
Made me feel like I want a meatball sub. No, I'm kidding.
It's like it made me feel like I never wanted to eat again. Like, honestly, that scene where that long, like 5-minute scene where he's just literally like he's got like
stacking pizzas on top of each
he's
other,
like pouring like mayonnaise and shit on them. I'm just like
ranch
dressing. I was like,
he just jumps out the loaf of bread and just starts.
Oh man, it was honestly foul. It was like,
and there's also the part like where he's he opens the drawer of candy and shit, and he's like, he opens one and he's like, you know, contemplating eating it or not and shit. And
then something tips him over the edge and he basically eats the whole drawer of candy.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts.
That scene where Dan the delivery guy, finally sees him, and his eyes are like this big.
Yeah.
Did you ever catch what he says? Because I tried to like rewind it and catch what I couldn't ever hear what he said in that scene, because he says something, but it's almost like inaudible.
Right. Yeah, I didn't stop to.
But it's
put
like
subtitles on or something.
Dan is just like, you know, it's like that Jesus Christ moment. It's like, holy shit! No wonder why you never opened the door for me.
Yeah, he seemed so. Yeah, people don't know. He always orders pizza. He leaves a 20 in the mailbox so he doesn't have to face the pizza guy, and they end up starting to kind of be friends. You know, he's like, "Hey, my name's Dan. Just so you know, you doing all right in there?" And that sort of shit. They introduce each other to, you know. And then that one scene, you know, where he sticks around to see him grab the pizza from the porch. Ooh, that's hard. That is rough, man. It's just, I don't know, man. He must have been like so embarrassed and just ashamed. I don't know. All the feelings.
I think this movie like really paints obesity like in a different light. Like, you know, like really kind of...
It's an addiction, man.
Well, yeah. It makes you really see it. And that's kind of like...
it's just like, you know, any drugs or anything.
Yeah, or fucking sex, man. Like,
sex,
it's kind of like...
Gambling.
It's, and it's something that I think people that aren't addicts, they just don't understand. It's like, you know... And I've said this before. I'm a fucking addict, man. Like, I struggle with my shit.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
do.
Yeah, I've got that personality.
Yeah, I do too, man. And that's why, like, there's a lot of things I just try and
manage.
I try and manage or just keep myself away from, man, because I know exactly what I'm like, man, and I know like it would just take the one right thing to just tip me off, and I would go right back down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
it's like it just like, makes you really feel for Charlie, because like it sucks, man. It's like you have that. Like you try so hard, you have that one thing that tips you over the edge, and then you're all in, and it sucks. Like it's awful.
Yeah. There's the thing about Liz. She obviously cares so much for Charlie, but also she's kind of enabling him.
I was going to bring that up, man. She really is.
But it's like at this point, you know.
But at this point, like she knows that he's not going to go to the hospital. Like he wants to die. Like that's what this is he wants to die. Like he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be on this earth anymore. And in spite of her efforts to get him to go see a doctor so he can... Because I think the other reason why he doesn't want to go to the doctor, because he doesn't want to know just how fucked he is. You know what I mean? He's like not really...
Hey, I understand that.
He's like really... He's not ready...
I hate going to doctors too.
He's not ready to accept that. Because like it's like when he starts looking up his blood.
And it's also about the money.
Yep. Because all the money, he's, you know, that is kind of a heartbreaking scene with Liz.
So he's
she finds out that Charlie has basically nickel and dimed his way through the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, he's like a online school teacher, and he doesn't turn his camera on. But through all that teaching, he's just been stockpiling all of his money to give to Ellie when he dies.
Yup, and so Liz finds out that
she didn't know he
had like $100,000 in the bank.
Yeah,
and she is fucking furious. She's like, so you've been having me enable you this whole time, when this whole time we could have gotten you doctors and physical therapy, and we actually could have fucking helped you.
Equipment
and he's like, no, we don't need to do that. That money is for Ellie. And it's just like, man, and
she even mentions that time her truck broke down and shit, and she was
in the winter, she
walking
had to
through the
walk
snow
his
with groceries.
And it's fucked up. And he's like, well, why didn't you tell me? We could have paid to get it fixed.
Yeah,
and she's like, I didn't think you had any fucking money, Charlie.
Fucking broke.
Yeah. It was a little fucked up, but it's also like it's a sad thing.
It's a lot of heartbreak.
Yeah, it's a lot of heartbreak. It's a sad thing because it becomes very apparent that Charlie is trying to buy his daughter's love, and you just can't do that, man. Like, no amount of money can buy a child's love. Like, man, like it's not the right way to go about it. Like all that does is just make spoiled brats.
He bribes her to spend time with them, and then also like does her homework and shit like that. Oh boy.
Yeah.
What else we got on this movie?
Kind of said my piece on it.
Yeah, we've been going for a minute on this one.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was a hard watch, man. It was a hard movie to watch. I mean, I was very engaged. Like, I didn't want to turn it off. Like, I very much so was like, I got sucked into the story.
Yeah.
But it's a hard movie to watch, man.
I was fucking bawling my eyes out, bro. I can't help it with this movie, man. It fucking, was like,
it definitely made me tear up.
It was uncomfortable how fucking, I was like ugly crying at the end, bro. I was
when she's reading
a schoolgirl, bro.
When she's reading the essay to him, and he's finally taking the steps
up,
and he's like, he's about to have a heart attack and die. Like, his eyes are literally like blood red, like, from his blood pressure. Yeah,
and even like a little before that, where he's telling the mother, "I need to know I've done one thing right with my life." You know? Oh my god, that is the line of the movie.
Yep. I mean, so many people feel that way, man. I need to know I've done one thing right in my life.
Yeah, and then it's kind of weird cinematically how they did that, how he dies. He kind of just ascends a little bit, but that doesn't really bother me that much. It's just it's a weird choice.
I think it's
better than seeing him actually die, I guess.
I think it's supposed to be a metaphor for the all the weight being lifted off his shoulders, because he
literally and
well, yeah, and figuratively. Yeah. But it's also like it's showing that him and his daughter Ellie, because he's spent the entire movie trying to connect with her, right? And in that moment, he finally completes his goal.
Yeah,
he finally he has affirmation that his daughter loves him, and that's what he's been trying to get.
And when she's crying, oh my god, oh Jesus Christ, oh man,
yeah. I think she
was so good, dude.
Yeah,
I can't believe how good she was.
Yep.
For those who don't know, it's what's her name from Stranger Things.
Yep. I didn't realize how old she was then, man. She's fucking 21, dude.
Is that right?
Yeah. But I mean, that's all those fucking, most of this Hollywood
that's
girls
how it happens in Hollywood.
Are in their early 20s playing teenagers. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly,
she still looked like a high schooler.
Well, but think about it though, man. From ages 15 to 21, everybody looks pretty fucking young, unless you've lived life.
All right.
Most people in that age bracket, especially being our age now, man. I see I was seeing people on my sister's college campus on Butler, these kids are between 19 and 22. They look fucking 15 to me, man. Like, they look like babies, dude.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
All right, move on to rating or rewatchability.
I could watch it again, but man, not anytime soon.
I've seen it 3 times since December. That's the most I've watched a movie in that short amount of time, and I don't know how long.
Yeah, I would definitely rewatch it.
You got to prepare yourself.
Yeah, I gotta. It's like I said. It reminds me of Requiem in a Dream for a way, where it's just like it's really hard to watch people with an addiction like essentially throw their life away, which is like a lot of what this movie is about, and so it's hard. It's a hard thing to watch. So, but I think definitely rewatchability on it.
I would
maybe pick up some things I didn't notice before. Also, I would say if you haven't seen it, definitely fucking watch it.
Fucking watch it, bro. Yeah, I would totally rewatch this one. Rating, I'm at a 9, bro. That's how high I am.
Hey, I respect it.
I'm pretty high.
Yeah, I definitely give this movie an 8, man. I give it an 8.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, I give it an 8.
You know what my highest rated movie on this podcast was? Take a guess. Maybe you can get it.
Highest rated movie.
I don't know if you remember any of the ones we done before. I mean, it was when Mike was co-hosting.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I honestly, man, I don't know.
It was There Will Be Blood, 9.5.
Oh shit!
I gave it that's the highest.
I should have known that because I know that's your favorite movie.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I fucking love it.
Oh man, that's that end scene is damn near perfect.
Oh yeah.
I take my straw, I stick it into your milkshake, and then I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Oh shit! What a great movie. All right,
now we're on to Lady Bird.
Let's move on to Lady Bird, bro. So you said this was on your list when I picked it, right?
Yeah, I was.
So how did you come across this? How did you get it on your list?
It was just one of those movies where I had seen a lot of people talking about it and saying that it was worth a watch.
Definitely.
But I realized upon watching it, wasn't the movie I thought it was. So it was actually there's another movie with a similar name. I think it's got Sandra Bullock in it. I think it's like Bird Box or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So that was the movie that was actually on my list.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, this movie wasn't really on my radar.
Okay.
At all until you picked it. I didn't realize that until I started watching. I was like, oh, this is not the movie I thought it was. Not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So this the movie I thought it was more like a mystery horror movie.
Right. That's the one where they can't talk or something. Or no, that's Quiet
They're
Place.
like blindfolded or some shit. Like I don't know, man. All these they gotta up the ante in all these fucking horror movies.
I know, right?
Well, yeah, anyways, no, this was not what I thought it was.
Lady Bird is a 2017 comedy drama. Director Greta Gerwig, screenplay Greta Gerwig.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's very much. I think it's kind of like teen angst.
Yeah, coming of age.
It's very I think coming of age is probably the perfect description of this movie. That's essentially what it's all about. It's very much so about. I mean, it's like everybody's been there, man. Like it's very relatable to be a teenager that thinks you fucking know it all and know exactly where you want to go.
Kind of similar to Ellie in a way, you know. Just being a high school teenager and just
being a little bit of a shit,
kind of a misfit,
being a misfit and kind of a shit,
black sheep type thing. Well,
yeah, and but also kind of thinking you know everything and really not knowing shit about the world.
Yeah. Anyways, we got a 99 tomato score,
Damn, dude.
right? 79 audience. Tagline, time to fly. That works.
I mean, it's weird, but I guess, like,
It's about her, leaving the nest and shit.
yeah. Which is, well, we'll get into that later.
Oh, there's another one that just says fly away home.
That one is pretty on the nose, yeah.
So, yeah, you got, I don't know how to say her name, Lady Bird, the actress's name. It's weirdly spelled. I looked it up once, but I forgot.
So, Christine in the movie.
Yeah, a.k.a. Lady Bird. And then you have Laurie Metcalf,
That plays her mom, yeah. Honestly, man, I got like...
she was good.
She was. She's an excellent...
They were both good.
I would say it became very apparent to me that her mom has some type of OCD, like...
She's very, like, overbearing, kind of. Well, controlling.
Overbearing, controlling, but, like, some of the things she says, like, you have to keep your room picked up. It's like shit like that. It's just, like, it's very controlling and OCD, and it's, like, it's funny because it, I don't know, it gave me, like, bad juju from when I was a teenager because, like, my mom was... She wasn't, like, controlling in the same way. Like, on some stuff, she was really loose with me. But on other things, it definitely was like, fuck, man. I was like, yeah, that was kind of how it was for me when I was a teenager. Like, kind of related to Lady Bird in that way, where it's just like, I remember, so I'm going to digress a little bit. I remember being, like, 12 years old and being out playing in the park with my friends, like playing football. And then all my friends decided we were going to go like 3 blocks away to my friend Pete's house and play basketball. And I was like, I was like, I'm going to fucking, I was like, because I didn't know where Pete lived. I'd never been there before. And so I didn't go home. I just went to Pete's house to play basketball. Well, I didn't come home for lunch. And my mom literally spent 30 minutes driving around to her trailer park to find me. She found me, made me get in the car, like embarrassed the shit out of me in front of all my friends.
Yeah.
Made me go with her to McDonald's, which I didn't even want to go to. And then she grounded me for 3 weeks. Like, just like, I thought you were kidnapped. Like, just being like, and so like
over the top.
Over the top. Like
they call it what? Helicopter parenting or something?
Yeah. And it's just like,
I think that's
so. Like, I kind of
relate.
I definitely related to Lady Bird and how like they're situationally, and it was kind of the same thing too, where like when her friends came over for Thanksgiving and were eating all of her food. And
oh yeah,
because like all my friends really liked my mom. They're like, "Oh, she's so cool." I was like, "Well, yeah, she's always a lot cooler when you guys are around. when you guys aren't around, she's kind of on my ass about a lot of bullshit." And it just kind of like this movie brought back so many memories, man. For when I was a teenager, I was like, that was kind of fucked up that my mom did that.
I'm trying to tell Sarah she needs to watch this movie. I think a lot of it will resonate with her, but I don't know.
Right.
She's stubborn about this kind of stuff. But how about the opening scene, man? It's very funny. I
think the opening scene probably made me laugh more than any scene in the entire movie.
Well, it's funny because they just got done listening to a book on tape. They're both crying and shit, and they're because they just listened to all the. I forget what book it was, but anyway, they. Inevitably start to fight with each other, argue, whatever. And then she just opens the door and just falls out of the car while they're driving and shit. You remember that? That's how she gets the brace. She just couldn't take her mom that much that she just opened the door and jumped out of the car while they were driving.
There were times where I wish I would have had the balls to do that. So I'm going to tell you another story, man, about something that fucked up that my mom did.
Yeah.
So you're getting to know a lot about me, listeners, and
Shout
why
out
like
to
I'm like
Drew's
this,
mom.
like I'm this like free person that just kind of does whatever he wants. Like I don't believe in rules. Like fuck off, like, just like do whatever you want, do what makes you happy. But I remember like when I was 13, I was an adolescent, and I started drawing pictures of naked girls. Like I mean, I had fucking friends with cable, and I had seen like fucking.
Sure, yeah.
I had seen like Skin Max and shit at their house. I seen like
all tits matter.
All tits matter, dude. All tits matter. So I had seen the female form, and being an adolescent boy, that was what was on my mind all the time. Sure. And and also being a little bit of a nerd, having a bunch of comic books, started drawing all this comic books ladies. Like I started drawing naked pictures of them. But I got scared, and I didn't want my mom to find them. Because I know my mom was going to I know how my mom was. She was going to freak the fuck out and, grill me. Like, are you having sex? Like, just ridiculous shit. And so I got scared. And I literally I crumpled up all my naked lady drawings, even though I really liked them.
Yeah.
I put them in a fucking bag with other pieces of paper. I tied that, put that in another bag, and fucking went outside I thought I was being quiet, and put that in the garbage. And this is what my mom did. She literally went through the garbage to see what I was doing.
What she noticed you taking the trash out or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because of course my mom didn't trust me, even though I actually was a good kid all through middle school and high school. I really never got in trouble, but she went through the fucking garbage. And keep in mind, I fucking pulled the shit.
Did she do this without you knowing? She went through.
Yeah.
Pick it out.
Yeah.
And then confronted you later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, my mom did fucked up shit like this all the time. She literally, because I had pulled the trash out of the garbage can and put these bags on the bottom and put 3 or 4 bags on top of it.
Right.
Which means she dug out all the fucking trash, dug that bag out, and then she fucking opened it up, and then she's like, "So, I need you to explain to me why why you're doing this. Why are you drawing naked girls? Why? How do you know what these look like? How do you know what breasts look like? How do you know what a vagina?" And I was just like, "What the fuck, Mom? You literally dug this out of the trash. What the fuck is wrong with you?"
That's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, it was
fucking embarrassing.
And some of the shit that Lady Bird's mom says and does, I was like, "Fuck, man, that resonated with me." I'm gonna tell one more fucked up story about my mom.
Okay.
So, like I said, I was really straight laced in high school, and I never did drugs. I didn't drink. I literally didn't start smoking pot and taking mushrooms and drinking until I basically was in college. I was a very straight laced student because I had 2 siblings that were super. I had a sister that was 14 years younger than me, and I had a brother that was 18 years younger than me. And I kind of took care of these kids. So I couldn't fuck around with that kind of shit. So, when I did get to go out with my friends, we'd just go to the mall or go to movies and shit. I just hung out with other people like me that didn't really do any of that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I remember one time specifically, I got home late, because as one of my best friends in the world, Matt Hayes, we went to see a bunch of horror movies, and we hung out at the mall until it closed at 9:00, and then we went to my friend Mark's house, and played video games until 11:00. So I didn't get home until 11:30, and my mom was still up, and she just starts grilling me, and she's like, "Why are your eyes so glossy?" She's like, "You've been fucking doing drugs." She just goes in, "You've been fucking doing drugs, haven't you? You've been smoking, but just going." I was like, "What the fuck, Mom? I've never done drugs." I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "You can ground me if you want. Fuck you. I'm going to my room." I literally just went to my room.
Yeah.
And the next day she apologized to me, but it was just that was the kind of shit I dealt with as a teenager all the time. It's just it was fucked up and embarrassing, and it's just man. I just like I really felt Lady Bird, like how overbearing her mom could be sometimes. I was just like, man, I like fucking know exactly what that feels like. It's like I think that's something that's very relatable.
It is a very complicated relationship between them two, but ultimately, you know, they love each other very much.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, but the nun, Lois Smith is the actress's name, is Aunt Meg from Twister. Did you know that? Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Food. We are not invading my aunt's house. I just thought that was cool because we love that movie Twister, don't we, Mike? So yeah, she's this high school girl she's kind of sick of the city she lives in. She don't like Sacramento, but ultimately she does.
Yeah, well, well, go ahead, man.
She's applying to colleges on the East Coast and shit. She's just trying to get as far away as possible from this town.
Well,
she feels like she's stuck in or something.
Well, and I think
a lot of people have that feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that's very relatable. I don't even think it's that she wants to get away from her town. I think it's what she wants to get away from her mom. Like, she wants to be as far away from her mom as possible. And again, like, I love my mom, but that's a feeling I very much understand. Like,
yeah. And the dad is good too, man. He's so like,
dude, the dad is like awesome. He's like the perfect like hippie.
He's the good guy. They have the good cop, bad cop as parents. And Laurie Metcalf says that in one of the scenes. She's like, I always have to be the bad guy or whatever. And good old dad, but it's sad because he's out of work. He hasn't been working, and this whole family they're kind of struggling at the moment.
Her mom is literally working double shifts.
Yeah,
and it's like you find out her dad is on antidepressants, so he's like,
right.
And it's like she finds a medication, and it's kind of an epiphany for her because her dad is like this humble, soft-spoken, happy, kind of go-lucky guy. She had no idea he'd been on antidepressants for years. Like, I think this movie does a really good job of kind of showing the average, like, middle to lower income family, but not sugarcoating
from the
it,
other side of the tracks. I did write a note about how it kind of did remind me of my mom also. I don't have any stories like you did, but
I could tell stories for fucking days.
I mean,
man.
I'm sure I have stories. I just I haven't had any prepared or nothing. But just like how they took in the brother's girlfriend. My mom took in people. She took in my baby's mama back in the day and my brother's girlfriend just because they didn't have
anywhere to go.
Better living situations too, and also the religious stuff. My mom's very religious.
Sure.
But these are they're like she's in like Catholic school, right?
Yeah,
they're Catholics.
She's in the Catholic high school. Yep.
Right.
I was gonna say, my mom is very much that way too. But it's ironic because for a section of my teenage year, she was religious, but she wasn't like super Christian-y. And then she got with my stepdad and started going to his church. And those people are like, like Southern Baptist types. And they're just like, it's just like they're not bad people, but they're just so judgmental. And it's just like, you're really kind of full. Well, it's like, they don't realize their own hypocrisy and just how full of shit they actually are. And it's like, she's like trying to make me go to church. I was like, it's like, I don't know if I believe in God or not, but I think all that's bullshit. Like,
right.
And it's like, I don't
organized religion.
Yeah, I don't get down with most organized religions.
So she gets cast in a play, there's a play going on, and she meets Danny, the redheaded boyfriend.
Oh,
Ends up
Danny.
being a boyfriend, you know.
Yep.
And they were going good for a while, you know,
Yeah,
until
like her first love, yeah.
until she finds him making out with another boy.
And honestly, I wasn't even surprised. I was like, yeah, that's par for the course.
My gaydar was going. No,
Well,
kidding.
I was like, come on, man.
I'm just kidding.
He's a handsome, well-liked theater kid who's good at singing. Like, he's fucking gay. Like, it's just like, I was like, this is a stereotype if I've ever seen one.
And then there's that scene where Danny, he shows up at the restaurant she's working at, and this is after they broke up, when she found out, you know, and she ends up saying to him, "You're gay," and shit, and he was like, and he ends up breaking down and crying, and they hug and shit, and he's like, "Please don't tell my parents. I'm trying to." He's trying to figure out a way to do it.
Right, because he knows they're not going to accept him.
Right. And he's just scared, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's
and that part got me emotional.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, being part of a family that does not accept homosexuality.
Right.
It's so fucking difficult,
tough.
man. Like, cause it's just like, you know, they're never gonna accept you for who you are, and it's just like, you know, you can understand a kid who is scared. He's like, cause it's like he's not even out of high school. He's like, who knows how his parents might react? They might fucking throw him out of the house. Like, it's a cumulative and scary situation, especially when you're living with religious zealots. Like, because, you know, there's going to be no good way to explain this to them. And I think that is one of Lady Bird's brighter moments in this movie, where
she accepts him.
She accepts him. She's like,
of course I won't tell nobody.
And I think that's in the moment. That's the moment where she kind of forgives him too. Like,
yes.
Because up until that point, she was
pissed.
She's fucking pissed. Like, she's just like, you know, why don't you just fucking tell me, man? Like,
yeah.
And I don't even think that I think that he did like her.
Yeah, but they were going good for a while. Like, it seemed.
But I was going to say, I think he liked her as a person, but he wasn't actually romantically interested in her. I think he was doing a shitty thing where...
Yeah, there was that dialogue where she's like, you know, you could touch my boobs or something. And he was like,
well, I respect you
so
too
much.
Yeah. It's just like... And it's just because it just doesn't get him hard. Like, you know? It's like, nah, you know, and that's... Hey, man, whatever. I was like, you know... when you see genitals, you have one of two reactions. You're either like, I'm going to be in that, or fuck no. Like, that's really the only way it is about it, man. Like, and, you know, it's just like, there's no helping that. Like, you like what you like, man.
Yeah. You're wired how you're wired.
You're wired how you're wired, yeah.
But then, you know, Timothée Chalamet comes into the picture. How about him, right?
He's such a scumbag.
He's like such an arrogant, fucking entitled, not entitled.
No, he's entitled for sure. He's a fucking...
Pretentious is the word I was looking for.
He's a pretentious rich boy who has the views he has about the world because he's had everything handed to him. He's like, well, I'm just going to live off the grid. And he's driving a car that's probably costs like $100,000. Like, yeah. And it's just like,
he's talking about how cell phones are tracking people and that type of shit, you know?
Well,
he's a little...
He's pretentious as fuck. He just like... And a lot of the shit... He says he doesn't know what like, to somebody that's older, if he said some of that shit to an older woman, they're just like, oh, you're full of shit. You're just a pretentious little asshole who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
But saying it to like a unassuming high school student, they're gonna be like, oh, you're so wise.
You're deep,
like, you're deep. And it's like, no, he's a fucking idiot who's been handed a bunch of money his whole life. Like, it's like, you know, it's like you. I hate to say this.
He does read a lot. That's something.
You don't even feel bad for him that his dad's dying of cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's kind of just like...
They mentioned that, yeah.
Well, it's because... You don't feel bad, though, because it's like... It's not even really like he gives a fuck. He just kind of mentions it in passing. He's like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
What does she say? She's like, I'll kill your whole family or something. Jokingly.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, my dad has cancer.
Yeah. And then he never really brings it up again. Like,
yeah.
But then again, it's like...
But
we know that he's lied, though, because he lied to Lady Bird about being a virgin.
Yes.
So he could have very well lied about his dad having cancer.
He uses her.
Oh, yeah. Well, and he lasts for all of like 10 seconds, too. Like,
yeah, I know.
And she's like, is that
it? He comes so quick.
Which, I mean, he's a high school kid, so...
Of course, yeah. I still come quick. No.
Kevin's a 60-second man. Like,
nah, sometimes.
Hey, man, everybody comes quick sometimes.
Sometimes I get a good one in.
Hey, get a good 20, 30 strokes in. Like...
Start the timer. Ready? I've been working on my time. Yeah, so yeah, he ends up that was her, yeah. They end up having sex and
well, that's kind of like her little rich friend. Like, I mean, they're all scumbags, man. They're fucking entitled rich kids like that look down on anybody that doesn't have money, like.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They come from a world of privilege. And people that come from a world of privilege, they can't understand what it's like to not have everything they need. Right. You know what I mean? Like that, somebody that is handed everything their whole life is gonna view people that don't have those things as, well, you just didn't work hard enough or you made bad decisions. Like they don't fucking understand because they haven't had to go through the same trials as people like us, where we're on the bottom.
Experience.
They just don't fucking know, man.
Also, her best friend, I love too.
Oh, her best friend is great, and I was mad at her for. I was just like, "You're a shit, Lady Bird. Like, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah,
she's been by your side this whole time.
Forgetting about her.
Yeah, she was hanging out with that rich girl, and I was like, "This is gonna backfire on you." And that, as soon as that rich girl finds out you're poor, she's gonna
snobby
fucking
bitch girl. Yeah. Oh yeah, she lies about where she lives. She thinks that big blue house. The scene. One of the more funny scenes is the I think he's like a priest or whatever, but he's trying to teach the kids in the play.
Yeah, and he starts bawling like because the role is the role he's trying to make them all better actors, and he basically what he says is the first person to cry wins, and he's the first person to cry. He's just like, I'm so sorry.
See, I was wondering about that guy because it doesn't really dive into his backstory, but you do see him visit Laurie Metcalf's character later as a nurse or whatever. But I think he's like battling depression or something. I think his son died a long time ago or something. They kind of mentioned that.
Yeah, I think it's something like that where his son I think lost a battle with depression or something like that. Yeah. Because it definitely brings up something about his son being dead, and
right.
I definitely remember that. I should have probably taken notes.
And she asked, she's like, "Do you have a support system or something you can?" I don't know. But the scene I was actually talking about was the other father. Whenever he takes over for that guy. And he's trying to teach him, he's doing like coach shit.
Oh, yeah. He's basically doing like sports stuff, but trying to relate it to like doing plays. Yeah.
That shit was
And funny. This is where you're going to fucking come in real loud right here. Yeah.
See, these lines, these are all singing lines. Y'all are going to sing?
You're going to sing real loud. Sing your hearts out. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, how about this scene where they're in the assembly and they're talking about abortion and shit. Remember that?
Oh yeah. What she said was scathing.
Exactly. I have the quote right here, but yeah.
Say it.
She's talking about, she's talking about abortion and like how
the speaker, and how it's basically it's this evil thing. She's like, well, if my mother
would have aborted me, yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. She's saying, if this person would have done this, then
she's like, do you know who that person was? It was my mother.
Yeah.
And then Lady Bird says, if your mother had the abortion, we wouldn't have to sit through this stupid assembly.
Yep. Yeah. Dude, that was great. That was great. The fucking, like, the look on that lady's face was priceless. That is actually one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah, that's
Because I was like,
it's a great line.
Lady Bird's kind of making a good point right now.
Yeah, she's got a point.
Because even though it's a dumb movie, I like it. It's a quote from Dogma, made by Jay and Silent Bob.
Right.
And Jay goes, "A woman's body is her own fucking business," and I wholeheartely agree with that, dude. Like,
yeah, it's poignant. She's about to go to prom or something. That part where she's going with like Timothée Chalamet's character,
and then the fucking shitty
the
rich
rich
girl.
bitch and her boyfriend,
Right?
And then they're on the way. They're gonna blow it off and go somewhere else. And she's like, she was almost down with it, but then she's like, you know what? No, I do want to go to prom. And she ends up getting dropped off at her friend's house, who they were fighting.
They probably haven't talked for like a couple weeks at this point, or however much time has passed.
Yeah, and I got emotional at that part too, just because they make up and they go to prom together.
That was great,
and
man,
they get prom pictures together and all that.
Dude, that's a thing that only girls can do, because two dudes could not, unless they're gay. Two dudes could not go to prom together. Like two straight dudes going to prom together. Everybody be like, huh, "Where's your dates, losers?" You know what I mean? Like, two dudes could never fucking get away with that.
Yeah, I get emotional at that part. This is the thing about this movie too, is like I care about so many of the characters. Somehow Greta Gerwig, all these characters are somehow relatable. I feel like in one way or another, or they just, I don't know. A lot of movies you just don't. Some characters you're just like, oh, that's just it's just an extra guy, or I don't know. I feel like they kind of went deep on a lot of these characters that are in this movie. The mom, the dad, obviously. I felt for her best friend and the gay kid, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it gives it's a pretty realistic representation of what it's like to be a teenager in high school, and how you're confused, and honestly it just kind of fucking sucks, especially your last year of high school, where you think you know what you want to do, but you really you don't know anything about the world. You don't fucking know where you're going in life, and it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, because
you're leaving this, even though you think you hate it, you're essentially leaving this comfort zone behind, because it's this place that you've essentially been in for 4 years, and now you're going out into the world and you have to make all your own decisions, and that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
I actually, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Well, I was gonna say there is that point where she like turns in an essay or something, and it's clear to the nun who read the essay that she does love Sacramento, the way she talks about it in the essay or whatever.
See,
even though she's been putting off that she's sick of this town, she wants to get out, but the way she describes, everything.
She actually loves it, yeah. A side note, that nun was actually really cool. And I love how she doesn't even get her in trouble for putting the "just married to Jesus" on her.
Oh yeah.
She's like, well, I wasn't just married to Jesus. She's like, I've been married to him for like 40 years. Like,
you're right.
It's like, there are some religious people that are actually really cool. Like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I know she's pretty. See, she's another great character, man.
Yeah,
I just
somebody who's like,
just love this movie.
Who gets it, who gets what it's like to be a teenager. Like,
sure, of course. The last thing I had was another part that made me cry, because I'm a crier, people. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. This movie actually, I'm gonna side note. This movie did not make me cry.
That's fine. But when they drop her off at the airport, you remember that?
Yeah.
At the end.
I actually did feel really bad for her mom in that scene.
Oh God, because they were arguing. They were like mad at each other.
Well, it was more so.
It's because she didn't tell her mother that she was applying to these colleges in New York.
Well, not only did she not tell her mother, she got accepted, and her mother couldn't accept it because she wasn't going to be around. Well, she wasn't going to be in their vicinity anymore. So it wasn't. They weren't going to have contact with one another on a regular basis,
right?
And her mother couldn't accept that, it wasn't that her mother was mad, but she was just so upset.
Yeah. And
she couldn't confide in her how she felt because, her mother is a very difficult person.
Yeah. But she does write. Remember, she was writing the notes.
I found that to be so interesting, too, where she wrote probably like 30 different notes and then crumbled them up and all threw away. And I love that her dad was the hero.
Yeah.
Who took all the things that her mom wrote.
Kind of like your mom with your pornographic drawings.
No, it wasn't. My situation wasn't heartwarming.
Yeah,
it was embarrassing and really kind of weird and fucked up. Like, I was just like, "Why are you doing this to me, Mom?"
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like my situation. It was not done out of love. It was done out of control. And
I just meant that it was similar. That they, took the papers out the trash or whatever.
But, stay out of my psychosis, Kevin.
No, but yeah, that's so yeah, he took out these letters that she was writing to Lady Bird, and he stuffed it in her luggage or whatever, since she found them later. And it's the words that, her mom always wanted to say to her, I guess,
And she just couldn't, yeah. Because of the type of environment her mom was raised in, she just couldn't that interaction where I'm sorry I cut you off, but I just wanted to point this out. It's like her mom is just she talks briefly about Lady Bird's grandma and about how she was an alcoholic and abusive. And I think because of that environment, her mom is kind of incapable of, she like puts on this really tough front. She's incapable of engaging in those type of feelings. Because there's that scene where they're in the mall together and she's trying to get her prom dress. And her mom is...
I think that was like a thrift store, like a Goodwill type
thing.
Yeah,
but her mom is just grilling her. And she's just like, why can't you just say something nice? And she's like, well, do you want me to be honest or do you want me to lie? And just like...
There's also another poignant line in that scene where she's... the mom, she says, I just want you to be the best version of you that you can be. And she goes, what if this is the best version? Which is...
And her mom gives her this look that is just nothing but skeptical. And you can see that it kind of breaks Lady Bird's heart. Like,
yeah.
She's like, she's like, so you're basically what you're telling me, Mom, is I'm just not enough.
Yeah, you're not good enough.
And I think that boils down to her mom, like the environment her mom is in. She's incapable of verbally expressing those feelings. Like, I think it's like really interesting when you compare her mom and her dad. So they're almost polar opposites. Like, her dad is like a very soft, emotional, like willing to like say his truths. Like, he's very easygoing, and her mom is very rigid and my way or the highway, and almost never says anything supportive or emotional.
Yeah. Jumping back to that drop-off scene at the airport, though, so, like, they drop her off, and she doesn't want to park, because they were kind of arguing about, how she's moving to New York or whatever, and she's like, no, parking's too expensive here, and she doesn't want to, like, get out and hug her goodbye and all that shit, so she drives off and leaves the dad, to say goodbye to her and shit.
And she immediately starts bawling.
And that's where I cried, dude.
Yeah. And I really felt for her mom because she's like I said, she's kind of incapable of sharing those feelings with her daughter.
I know, and she comes back around.
I think it's important because I think also she changed her mind. And then when she gets back to the terminal and she walks in,
it's too late.
I think she realizes it's too late.
Yeah, and the dad's like, they hug, and he's like, it's okay, she'll be back,
But there was a scene, and maybe I misconstrued it, but I thought maybe something was wrong with her mom when she was like talking to the priest from her school, and she says something like, "Don't worry, I won't tell her." So I was like, I wasn't sure if like her mom was sick, or I don't know, or maybe I just misconstrued the situation because that scene with
I think
her
it was
mom,
about the priest, right?
I'm not sure. That scene was a little confusing, and maybe this movie might require a rewatch.
Yeah. Speaking of which, rewatchability, I think we're at that point.
I mean, I think
it's a bit of a long episode, but it's fine. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah. I think this is unlike The Whale. Well, I guess kind of like The Whale, but for different reasons. This movie, honestly, is well written as it is. I don't feel like it resonated with me as much as The Whale did. So I think I'd have to give this movie some time before I revisit it again.
Sure.
And I will say, like, there are things that are... This is a well-written movie. It really is. And I know it's well-written because there are things in this movie that immediately called to my attention what it was like to be a teenager. And I was like, I think that is the weirdness and the angst and the uncomfortability.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the parts of the movie that are done the best. But unfortunately, I really don't like the main characters that much. Like, I don't like Lady Bird that much, and I don't like her mom that much. I mean, I think it's kind of intentional.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it made me a little less invested in their characters, if you know what I mean. And I think that is part of what like is maybe like, okay, I wouldn't immediately. This isn't a movie where I'd be like, okay, I want to rewatch this again and like go through it.
Interesting. Like I said earlier, I actually love all these characters, most of them. Not really Timothée Chalamet, even though he's good.
The worst.
He's good though as an actor.
Yeah. He is. He plays the perfect stuck-up rich boy. Like he serves his purpose. Have you
seen any of his other movies?
Yeah, man. Actually, I think the Dune movie is really good. He's fucking great in Dune.
There's this one movie called Call Me By Your Name where he jizzes in a peach and then his boyfriend almost eats it.
Weird.
True story. Go check that movie out.
Oh, man. That one might not be for me, man.
I'm picking it now. No, I'm kidding.
Damn it.
I'm joking. But yeah, rewatchability for me, I would totally rewatch it. I love it. I'm at like an 8.5.
For me on this one, I'm actually like at like a 6.5, man.
Okay.
It's just it's like as far as like the world building, like I both love and hate how it makes me reminisce about being a teenager.
Yeah.
Because I mean, after hearing my stories, I'm sure you were like,
up some old feelings.
Yeah. It definitely it does a great job about. I think it displays greatly what it's like to be a teenager, especially at her age.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't really care for the main characters too much. I mean,
That's all right, man.
I loved her dad. I fucking loved Miguel and Miguel's girlfriend. I thought they were fucking great, dude. Like
Miguel,
her goth brother.
Oh yeah.
and his goth girlfriend. I kind of they seem to be kind of like anchors where they're like they kind of bring everybody back down to reality in a lot of points. I feel like like they're the kind of like static characters that they don't really grow throughout the movie, but they're like good anchor points of checking everybody's like reality. I mean, I did really like her friend too. You know,
Yeah,
I
her
definitely
friend is great, and also the gay kid.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing he really did wrong was not being honest. Like,
right.
You know, and so, you know, she's perfectly...
Well, he's still figuring out, you know, his sexuality and all that.
And, you know, and that's very... Like I said, this movie does a great job of realistically painting what high school's like, especially a fucking Catholic school, man.
Yeah,
I couldn't... Dude, I would have
imagine.
never... I would have never survived in a Catholic school. I wouldn't have made it through. I would have been fucking thrown out.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the end of our podcast.
The end of the pod.
Where we pick our next movies. And if you remember, at the beginning of this episode, I said I watched 2 movies, but I couldn't tell you about the second one because it's one I'm picking today, right now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And it's a little bit of a curveball, this movie.
Okay.
It's something we've never done. It's a documentary.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we've never done a documentary on here.
I'm game, man.
I just watched it today because it's not streaming anywhere, and so, but I own it, you know, on DVD.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you borrow it right now.
Okay.
Lamb of God, as the palaces burn.
Okay.
Do you know what this is about?
No, man.
You don't?
No.
Maybe I shouldn't spoil it then.
Yeah, don't tell me anything. Let me go in blind.
All right, cool. This is an amazing fucking documentary. It's just fantastic. I watched it today, and so
Okay, cool.
you borrow that.
I will borrow this, man.
And first ever documentary on the podcast.
First ever documentary on the podcast.
So what are you going with?
Actually remember the movie that I wanted to pick last time that I didn't remember.
Okay.
I think it's a movie both of us haven't seen.
Okay.
I'm picking The Green Knight.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it. It was
me neither.
recommended to me by shout out Larry.
Yep. So I wanted to see this movie. I wanted to see it when it came out, and I forgot about it. And then
I didn't even know about it until Homeboy
I remember you kind of listing it off some of the movies that he had recommended to you, and it was a movie it'd been on my list anyway. So fuck it, I'm picking The Green Knight, man.
I think that's streaming on Tubi or something with ads.
what
are you gonna do?
I'll fucking pay for it. I hate ads. I'll pay to watch it. I don't blame you. I'm such a sucker for that kind of shit because I'm just like, no, I'll pay the $4 to watch the fucking movie because
it's not that deep.
It's why I don't have cable because I hate advertisement, and it's why I don't use.
Me too, man.
It's why
there's just way too much
bullshit. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to fucking sit through 4 minutes of bullshit of products that I'm never gonna buy.
Yeah, and it takes you out of the movie too.
Yep.
Yep.
I hate that break in the suspension of disbelief. Like I don't need that. I'm fucking watching this to escape reality. Like don't ruin that for me.
I know. I think that's part of the reason Mike didn't really like Inside Llewyn Davis, but but I don't know if he was a big fan of that movie anyways. But a lot of it I think was the ads.
Yeah, but so
there you have it, folks. The Green Knight and As the Palaces Burn, Lamb of God doc.
Next time on Kevin and Drew Talk Movies.
This was a fun one, man. Thanks for coming out today. Peace out, everybody. That's all, folks.
Made me feel subconscious about eating, like watching it.
Made me feel like I want a meatball sub. No, I'm kidding.
It's like it made me feel like I never wanted to eat again. Like honestly.